Welcome to the Last Gallery studio, which is in the back, very back corner of my garden and backing onto fields and mountains, which is really beautiful. It's a red brick single brick structure, so it doesn't have much insulation. It's very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter because I've basically got perspex windows, corrugated roof. So yeah, it's not the friendliest of spaces to work in, but I have my radio, really important. I have my exercise equipment in here. That is a yoga mat. And various other things and lots of issues, as you can see. So I've got mould growing on the walls here. I have old chairs which are waiting to be worked on by my husband. So I get sort of given these chairs to sit on for short periods. My husband's an upholsterer. And this section here used to be a sort of pigsty, this section. And this beam, it was above the entrance to, so that bit behind the chair there is where the pigs used to come in and out. But it was a pigsty and a tool shed and a leather storage, because the shop that I own, that is now the Last Gallery, is used to be a cobbler's. So this has changed from being a cobbler's workshop to an art studio. So it's gone through quite a few lives. Here's a bit of work here, lots of random stuff as well. I have lots of spray paint which I use on my canvases. It's a little bit windy in here today, so you might hear some cracks and creaks. Lots of shelving, a printer. I have a lovely chaise longue which you can sit on and look out over the view, which is beautiful and very stormy looking today, but always a total inspiration. I have one of these old kitchen units which I keep all my paints in. It's absolutely brilliant because I can mix on the table surface here, and I have my Posca pens which I can't do without, and like I said, all the little compartments have different paints in them. Perfect, especially in a damp environment. Above here I've got storage. I've got blinds on the window here, but up here I've got weed suppressant fabric to block the light coming in because it can be really strong, especially in the afternoon. So I have to roll those up and put them back depending on what I'm doing. Various other storage, heating, which isn't being used at the moment, even though it is the end of September. But I do need heating in here, so I rely on radiators. And this is my secondary source of heating, bubble wrap, which has just come off all my paintings from Swansea. And I'm going to staple gun these to the ceiling to give myself a little bit of extra insulation this winter. It's a method that I've used in my greenhouse, which works really well. So I'm just going to sort of apply it to the tin parts of my roof and hope that gives me a little bit of extra insulation. I've got lots of takeaway containers with all my watercolours in. I try and recycle and reuse everything that I get my hands on. So over the years my daughter's probably eaten several thousand yogurts, and I have yogurt pots for everything. So my walls are looking a bit empty at the moment, mainly because I packed up my last show and it's gone into storage, and that for many reasons, one of them being that my studio is damp and obviously I don't want mould on my paintings, so they've gone up into the loft of my house. So it's looking a bit empty in here. There are a few scraps of paintings, basically ones on board which don't warp and don't, pick up the mould as easily. I have these old storage units for my paints as well. I treated myself to a new easel recently, so I'm well pleased with that. The flooring is just bits of old green carpet that I picked up out of a skip, and again probably not insulated very well, so it's a bit chilly. Over here is where I do my my filming. I have a YouTube channel and I have a Patreon site where I teach people how to paint. Very simple classes, but you know, I have a good following, which is great. And I mainly film here. That's why all the tech is on the wall. But I also do prep work here as well. I've got a very old overhead projector and storage for my paper, which I have to keep to a minimum again because it's quite damp. As a result, I've got this, which is a godsend dehumidifier, which really helps with the issues that I have with damp. I have some scraps of upholstery fabric, fake leather, which I'm going to use as surfaces for my painting. So that's my next job. I've been messing about with all this stuff that my husband takes off of all the sofas and the chairs, and sort of playing about with surfaces and what they will take and what they won't take. I really like this stuff, which is stuffing it's made from recycled material already, but that's just recently come off a chair, so I'm going to try and use a bit of that. I'm working on some ideas to do with sheep tagging, and I've got some images of lichen, various other bits of material. I just bought some of this. I treated myself to the Blackest Black acrylic paint, so I'm really excited to use that. And this is my view out onto my garden, my vegetable patch, which is mainly producing pumpkins at the moment for Halloween. But it's been a great garden this year. We've had lots of produce out of it, and my greenhouse. So I bob between the studio and the greenhouse. It's really useful and inspiring, you know, to have 5 minutes out in the garden and back in and carry on painting. So it's a beautiful space to work in. Over here, I've got those old shoe holders, which take all my paintbrushes, and again, great storage solution. Bags and bags of recycled materials, and then boxes of stuff. I have just recently tidied up. When I had my last show, I decided to do a thorough tidy, and so everything is much tidier than normal. So I'm hoping that you can help me with an issue. I have this problem, as well as damp in my studio. I have this problem, which is holes in my paper. Can you see those? So there's some insect, I don't know what it is. Insect, it's definitely not a slug or a snail, but it sort of hoovers these shapes out of, and this is a Juno Project leaflet that they very kindly sent me, and literally overnight in my studio this is what happened to it. So I have to put all of my things into boxes like this so that the insects don't get to it, but I just accidentally left this one out. So if anybody knows what creates this, I would deeply appreciate some advice as to what it is. What is it? Silverfish? Is it whatever? But yeah, there's a challenge for you. Okay, so that's my studio. I hope you like it. It looks lovely on a sunny day, very noisy on a wintry heavy rain day, which it was yesterday, but it's beautiful. I love this space. I spend a minimum of 10 hours a day in here, so I wouldn't spend that amount of time in here if it wasn't a wonderful space. The only thing it lacks is a bit of height. I do some large paintings and I don't have the height to really see them, so I have to move them out into different spaces. Okay, hope you've enjoyed the tour of my studio. Hopefully next time you see it, it'll be a bit fuller, it'll have some more work on the walls, but there you go, that's what happens. Okay, bye for now.